Well, it is day 42 of the Occupy Wall Street protests, and it has become very clear this week that this has become a nationwide movement. This is video from Nashville, Tennessee. Very early this morning, protesters have been occupying Legislative Plaza for about 3 weeks now. They were told they would need to evacuate by last night, but those who stayed were removed from the area by police. Police cite concerns about safety after reports of fights, thefts, and disruptions from homeless people. Occupiers say police intentionally stopped patrolling the area once camp was set up, leading to the increase in crime. On now to San Diego, California. You can see police making an arrest here as other protesters stood their ground. In all, more than 40 people were arrested, and we're also told officers confiscated all personal belongings, as well as supplies and food that had been donated to the protesters. This video also taken very early this morning. This week, of course, marked by the situation in Oakland, California. Iraq War veteran Scott Olson, who you see standing here peacefully protesting. Well, moments after this video was taken, he was severely injured. You can see him there on the gurney being carried out, taken to a hospital with a fractured skull. This, of course, sent shockwaves throughout the world, and in particular through the military veterans community, as well as the Occupy movements. We also have some video from last night in Oakland, California. More than 1,000 people came out with candles and signs holding vigil in honor of Scott Olson. We were told, by the way, his condition has been upgraded from critical to fair, though he will need brain surgery. Hospital officials say Scott is awake and aware, but unable to talk since the injuries he sustained are near the speech center of his brain. 2 tours in Iraq, and it's Oakland, California, where Scott Olson is badly injured. It's a reality, again, that has really outraged so many people, including military veterans in this country, and one in particular. You may remember this video that we showed you last week.
This is not a war zone. These are unarmed people. It doesn't make you tough to hurt these people. Let them know. It doesn't make you tough to hurt these people. It doesn't. This
is Sergeant Shamar Thomas yelling at police officers in New York about their treatment of protesters. Now, this video was taken before Scott Olson was injured, and it went viral on YouTube with literally millions of hits. I did speak to the man in that video just a little bit ago, Sergeant Shamar Thomas. He gave me his reaction to this turn of events in Oakland.
My initial reaction, especially after the video that I had went viral, was shock and disbelief. Scott Olson is, a patriot to this country, and he, decided to go out and stand up for the people that he chose to protect in Iraq. So to see that, the police had no disregard for him or his uniform was shocking and, unbelievable.
So interesting, too. He was wearing a Veterans for Peace T-shirt at the time that this happened. I know that your reaction is not unique. A lot of people just simply outraged when they saw these pictures come down. I want to play some video from a couple nights ago in New York when news of what happened in Oakland, the raid, came down. These are some pictures of Occupy Wall Street protesters in New York from just a couple nights ago. Protesters showing solidarity with what happened in Oakland. I think, Shamar, we're seeing your head in this video actually as well. So I'm pretty sure you were down there. Just tell us a little bit about what that was like. So many people in the street. Looks like there's police officers there as well. What was the mood just a couple nights ago there on Occupy Wall Street in New York?
Well, the mood out there was one of shock and disbelief of what happened in Oakland, and then it turned into, pride and solidarity. We initially started the peaceful protest just walking in the streets, and if somebody would slip off the curb and, put a foot into the street, the police, I saw a man get pushed down just for, stepping, 1 foot off the curb. And so the protesters decided that they would peacefully march through the streets, chanting that, these are our streets, because in fact, they are our streets, and the police are, really going hard to stop what we're trying to do peacefully and trying to, I feel like they were trying to incite violence and incite us to, be disorderly, but everybody kept it peaceful. Nobody, did any sort of violent acts toward the police. But in my 25 years on this earth, that was one of the greatest things that I've ever been a part of. I'm so pleased with the people who were out there, with the way they protested, the way they acted, the way they carried themselves. Scott Olsen is an American hero, and that march signified how we feel about the people of Oakland and all the other occupations across the world.
Do you think that this will change anything, Shamar? I mean, certainly Occupy Wall Street, the movements have been going on for much more than a month now, but certainly this week there's a different feel in the air. There's a different mood from people that we interview, people that we talk to about this. What do you think will change, if anything, on the ground where you are in New York?
Well, as far as what will change, this is a progressive movement. What happens is the media that is involved mainstream is, putting out a lot of different images and a lot of different, sound bites of what's really going on, what they really think, what they say is really going on. But as far as it goes, the American people are starting to catch on that we're all about them. This is about the 99% of America that are hardworking, that are good citizens, that go to work every day, come home and take care of their kids. This is about the America that we all know and love. And once people start seeing the kind of people that are really out there, once the media starts portraying it for what it really is, then I think that more people will come out and support. And we just have to get this country back on track and get it back to where it needs to be.
I think it's so interesting when you talk about the America that we all know and love. There are so many people, both here in Washington and in the mainstream media, on those cable networks, people who are constantly talking about loving the country, supporting the troops, wanting to be resilient in Afghanistan, in Iraq, wanting to just support the military in so many ways. A lot of times, it's so interesting, these are the same people who are also saying pretty crazy things about the Occupy Wall Street protesters, calling them unpatriotic, telling them they don't love freedom, they don't love this country. What do you think about those two very, in my mind, different opinions coming from the same people?
Well, I think they just don't understand what is going on. I think, even before I went to Occupy Wall Street for the first time, the media coverage was, that these are weed-smoking hippies and, these are people who are non-resilient, who don't want to work and things of that nature. But both of my parents served in the military. I served in the military. We have college-educated people. I don't understand how you can go to college or serve in the military or be a firefighter or, be in a local union as a construction worker and not be considered resilient. So, we have a lot of people out there who are from all walks of life, but the media portrays it as one aspect of life. And so that's why the opinions of who is down there and what's going on is different from, place to place. But I'll be the first one to tell you that we are resilient, and that's why we're out here fighting for the people, no matter, if they believe in us or not. At the end of the day, if we're successful, then we will all live well. And, credit needs to be, given to the occupiers who are out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for, the freedom of this country.
We should mention, too, Scott Olsen, that injured veteran from Oakland, was protesting, but he is somebody who has a job in addition to having served 2 tours in Iraq. If you don't mind, Sergeant Thomas, I'd like to put up a photo. This is a picture of Jay Gentile that we have. This is a former sergeant with the U.S. Marine Corps. We spoke to him yesterday, and he was just in shock. He's holding a picture of Scott Olsen. He's also holding a sign that says, "You did this to my brother." I know this picture really elicited a lot of response, including comments from other veterans. And one of them really sticks out to me. It says, I think it was aimed at police. It says, "You have awoken the big dogs. Marines, we need you. Military personnel, we need you to stand up." I'm wondering, if this continues, if there's more police brutality that we see, do you expect that former military will come out and sort of act as a security force? Do you think they should? What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I encourage all military members that are veterans. I don't really want active duty to, leave their posts because, I don't want, to jeopardize their careers. But I do believe that all veterans, have a responsibility to protect these people because we, like myself and Scott, we fought in foreign lands for, the idea of peace and that we were there to be, to ensure freedom in our way of life in America. And so to come back to America and not, stand up for the people that are here, the people that you fought for, is an injustice to yourself and, what your values are.
I want to also tell another side of the story. This week, we also saw in Albany, New York, the governor of New York, the mayor of Albany, asked state and local police to enforce a curfew there. And those police officers actually defied their orders. They said, you know what, these protesters are being peaceful. We don't want to start any riots, and they actually defied orders. Want to get your reaction to that, and if you think, that's something that we're going to see more and more because of what we've seen coming out of New York City, coming out of Oakland.
Well, first of all, I must say that is, I applaud those men and women who are out there and who allowed those peaceful protesters to peacefully protest. That's what we need more in this country because, the police have to understand that they're a part of the 99% and that we all look up to them. We all, have to put our trust in the police officers to protect us on a daily basis, regardless of how they feel about, who we are as far as the gender, what we're there for, what we're doing. As long as we're peaceful, they need to understand that, that's their job to protect us. That's why, little kids want to be police officers and firefighters when they grow up because, it's about serving the community. And I would hope that everybody, takes that as an example that, we have to come together. This is about all of us. This is about, it's not about, the college students. It's not about the 9-to-5 workers. It's not about anybody else but the whole collective unit as America, as Americans, and, as a global world as well.
Sergeant Shamar Thomas, want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Iraq veteran, also Occupy Wall Street protester, joining us from New York.